Way to go, Willie. Not one, but two-run shots from Willie Calhoun, including the game-winning walk-off beautiful bomb in the bottom of the 10th. Help our Halos finally win an exciting, fun baseball game here against the Mariners. Friday night fireworks and fun and a dub above all else. We'll talk about all of it. Locked On Angels Postcast right now.
You are Locked On Angels Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
That's right, baby. Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome to the latest and most exciting in a while edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. As always, after every single Halo game, even when they're not as exciting as this one was, after every single game here live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel, and after the fact, wherever you get the Locked On Angels podcast feed. I'm your host, Gavin Carlson. If you don't know who I am, I spent 4 years as a credentialed journalist in the LA area, and I'm, of course, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network right now. And right now, I am fired up. This is one of those games, this is one of those postcasts where I had to make sure all the windows were closed, make sure I'm not getting noise complaints from my neighbors, because I'm fired up. I'm fired up. You have not, none of us have had the opportunity to have a fun win like that in a while. I mean, just wins in general, obviously. There haven't been many of them in a while, but this is the last walk-off since the Logan O'Hoppe bomb. That day game, I don't even remember what team that was. Gosh, there's nothing better in baseball than a walk-off home run, but especially with a team that's struggling so much, especially in a division matchup, and especially when a guy like Willie Calhoun, who has done nothing this year but be the consummate, professional, the best teammate possible, and is just a likable guy, a likable player, and he comes through here, not once, but twice. He was the hero in the 4th inning with the home run. He's the hero in the 10th with the home run to help the Angels beat the Mariners here in 10 innings, 6-5. Before we jump into a thrilling postcast where we will talk about the game as a whole, we'll talk about the bullpen doing a pretty darn good job. We'll talk about Tyler Anderson for once having a game where he's not great but doesn't get a loss. That never really happens with him. Of course, we're going to have to start with Willie Calhoun not once but twice leaving the yard in right field. But before we do all of that, a quick shout out to the sponsor of tonight's postcast, Booking.com, Booking.yeah. The right state can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. And I got to say, normally I try to be more structured and more. No, we're letting it go. Straight to the comments. Daniel Berry says, yo. Anthony Jimenez says, hey. KCJ24 says, light the beam up. Light that baby up. Anthony Jimenez adding Cal Boom. That's right, Willie Calhoun with 2 big flies. And that's where we have to start today. Before, real quick, I'll say, shout out to everybody in here. As always, appreciate it. A lot more fun after a game like today where the Halos actually win. But you guys have been here. You were here on the 4th of July. I still can't believe that. After a bad loss to the A's, there was still a huge crowd in here. The crowd has been big throughout this losing stretch. And so I appreciate all the support. Please leave a like, leave a comment. As always, appreciate it. But let's jump right in, because for once, an offensive performance worth talking about. I said the 4th inning. The home run from Willie Calhoun was in the 1st. And this was a game of home runs. Julio Rodriguez, he has a 2-run bomb. Willie Calhoun with not one, but 2 2-run bombs. And Cal Rayleigh has a 2-run bomb. So just about all the runs were scored via the big fly tonight. Interesting for a night game in the Big A, no warm air and all that. I don't know what the weather looked like. It looked fine. It's really hot here where I am in the Bay Area, Northern California. It seemed pretty regular temperature, but that ball was flying out tonight, and we didn't waste any time seeing the home runs. We'll get to the Julio Rodriguez bomb, the Cal Rayleigh bomb, when we talk about the Angels pitching a little later. But we have to talk about Willie Calhoun. In the 1st inning, comes up, Anthony Rendon up on 3rd, 2 outs. Looked like a good scoring opportunity. Inning was going to get ruined, but just one pitch, a down and in 4-seam fastball, not even that bad of a pitch. And he rips at 100 exit velo, 381 feet. And it was good to see that, because Willie Calhoun has kind of been scuffling a little bit coming into this game, kind of like Kevin Pillar. A similar thing of had that red hot stretch With Calhoun, his role is pretty simple. He's a DH only. He's not going to do anything in the field. He's not going to do anything on the bases. So when he's hot at the plate, you love it. But the second he's not hot at the plate, he really doesn't give you much value. He's one of the rare lefties we have in this lineup. That's something that's a big problem. Obviously, this team's not trying to compete, but if they really were, you would need to go out and get another lefty or something. There's a bunch of righties, other than Shanuel, other than Calhoun and Ammoniak. It's a bunch of righties tonight and just about every night. And so it's so huge to have Willie Calhoun playing well, because he's really one of a kind in this lineup, a big power-hitting lefty. And so when he was playing well, it was great. When he hadn't been playing well recently, it was really a bummer, because then he gives you absolutely no value. But he breaks out of a slump kind of in a huge way. 2 for 4, 2 two-run shots. We talked about the one in the first inning. It was great to see, too. You give up 2 runs in the first inning, boom, instant response from the lineup, and specifically from Willie Calhoun. But that is very small in value in comparison to what he did in the 10th. Once again, coming back after you give up a run. In the top of it, we know how the extra inning rules are now. We know that it's kind of like, the extra inning, the new rules, I say new, it's not that new anymore, but with the guy on second base in extra innings, it kind of feels like a college football overtime game to me. Maybe it's a stretch here, but I'll tell you why. In the college football overtime, it feels like if you don't score a touchdown, you're screwed, right? You're screwed. You're expected to score a touchdown if you get a field goal wherever. In baseball, I feel like getting a guy in scoring position is kind of like a field goal, right? Like, you did enough work to get down there. Now, obviously, there's no half runs in baseball, but they're kind of already giving you the field goal by putting you at second base. The same way they're already giving you the field goal when they put you at I think it's the 20-yard line, 25-yard line, right? It's the same concept, where if you don't score a touchdown in that overtime in college football, it's a loss. 3 points don't really matter. You need 7. And the same thing here, where you obviously don't get any credit for getting a guy to third. You got to score him. And the Angels so many times this year have struggled to get the guy to third, let alone score him in extra innings. And the Mariners, with some help, did their job. They scored their runner on second base. And the question was, I did not go into the bottom of the 10th, I'll tell you, saying, was one run enough for the Mariners? I did not think that one bit. I went, they got their run. Now it's the Angels' turn to get a run. That's runner on second base, right? I did not go in to the bottom of the 10th saying the Angels are going to score 2 runs and they're going to take just 2 pitches to do it. But surely enough, in comes the new pitcher. Voth replaces Munoz. Taylor Ward's at second, and on just the second pitch of the at-bat, a completely different pitch from his first home run earlier in the game. A hanging 81-mile-an-hour sweeper right down the middle, and Willie Calhoun, he crushed it. The first one, it was like, is it going to get out? This one, you heard it on the broadcast on Bally's, the announcer getting fired up right away. You knew right away. The crowd knew it. He knew it. Everybody knew it. That ball was gone. And the emotion, the excitement. We haven't had many wins at all in general. We really haven't had thrilling, exciting wins. We had, I'll keep talking about it, that game in Houston where Joe Adell and, Ohapi and Shanuel, everyone going deep. We had that game. We had the Logan Ohapi walk-off day game in these same City Connect uniforms that they're wearing tonight. And this is up there as one of the 3 or 4 or 5 most exciting wins of the year. Anytime it's a walk-off bomb. But in this stretch where there's so much negativity, where you're coming off of a disgracefully embarrassing performance yesterday. I forgot to mention that, right? As bad as it gets yesterday. So it all just makes this win so much more fun. And I am not in the mood today to talk about what it means for the rest of the year, what it means for the deadline, what it means for 4 years from now. We do that on every single postcast. And this is supposed to be the show on Locked On for breaking down the game specifically and not looking towards 2 years from now, maybe looking towards the next game or two. But we are well aware as Angels fans that every game right now is, how does it affect the trade deadline? How does it affect a year from now? How does it affect what Mike Trout does? How does it affect what Artie Moreno does? And for once, I think we have earned the right to sit back and enjoy this win. And you're not being a delusional, unrealistic, fan who's lost the plot, who has forgot the mission of selling at the deadline. You're not that if you enjoy a win. Because at the end of the day, we watch baseball, we watch this team because we love it. We enjoy it. We love this team. We love this sport. And we love moments like these. So for once, including myself, because I'm culprit number one of this, because I am a realistic person, because I am focused on this team eventually winning a World Series. I don't care about them, making it to 500. I want this team in 4 years to win a World Series or something, right? Of course. So I'm just like most of you who we look at a score, we see a win or loss, but we know that this year is about looking forward. Especially when you see a bunch of losses, all you can do is look forward and talk about the deadline and talk about all that. But for once, I think all of us have earned the right to just bathe ourselves in this emotion, in this excitement after a game like this. I really think so. So, kind of broke down that there a little bit, the game a little bit. I'm just excited. At the end of the day, I'm at a loss for words. I'm just excited. And don't call me a certain name or a certain delusional hopeful or anything like that for being excited. And you shouldn't feel that way either. You're allowed to just be thrilled that the Angels actually won a baseball game and in an exciting way. I always, every single time I watch a home game, I look into the crowd. I look at the faces of fans. I see them looking annoyed and bored and frustrated almost every game. So there's nothing I love more than looking in the crowd, seeing the fans that deserve a Purple Heart for going to an Angels game with this state of the franchise. You deserve all sorts of awards and trophies for your loyalty. And above all else, you deserve to actually watch your team win and win in an exciting way like you did tonight. A couple times you thought the Angels were going to lose this game. And for once, despite that, they actually came through. So thrilled for the people there, thrilled for all of us watching. It is a fun night I'm not going to say a fun night to be an Angel fan because that sounds way too dramatic. But as an Angels fan, tonight was a great night to soak up a great walk-off win, a very likable guy coming through and doing it as well. So shout out to Willie Calhoun, not one, but two big flies to right field, over that right field wall, bringing happiness and joy to all of us when we haven't had much of it in a while. With all that being said, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to break down the rest of the game, the rest of the Angels offensive performance, because there were a few more hits, 11 to be exact. We'll talk about how everyone else did in the lineup. We'll talk about Tyler Anderson not looking great, but not getting a loss for it for once. And the bullpen certainly deserves a lot of credit as well. We'll talk about all of that after our first break here on a victorious, fired up victory postcast here on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. We'll be right back. Now, today's show is once again brought to you by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your rival cities. With hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay even in your baseball rival city. Now, I have to say, I believe, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Anthony Jimenez here, a loyal viewer, who commented, please, can the Angels win at least one more game before Gavin leaves for New York? We got the win. Hopefully it's not the last. Hopefully they can win tomorrow or Sunday before I leave Sunday night. But we got that one win at least. And now I can be happy about that. And I can know I'm going to have a good trip in New York because I've already booked my hotel and my bed and breakfast, 2 separate bookings through Booking.com. I'm going to New York on Sunday night. And they already made it easy booking the hotel, booking the bed and breakfast. I just use the Booking.com app. If you prefer the website, certainly use that. They're both great. So from hotels that look over stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. And today's show is also brought to you by eBay Motors. And you've heard me say it many times. You'll hear me say it again because it's true. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, and LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. S customers. Back here live on the most excited in a while edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, from the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel and after the fact, wherever you get the podcast feed. 6-5, the final. 4 runs coming via the bat of Willie Calhoun. A 2-run shot in the first, a 2-run shot in the bottom of the 10th to send those loyal Angel fans at the Big Hay home happy. And boy, it was fun. It really was fun. You heard me say it before the break. You'll hear me say it again. It was fun to watch. It's nice to have an extra inning game. We haven't even had many close games as of late. So I was just happy when it was 4-4. I was happy when Calhoun tied it at 2-2, when the Angels tied it again in the bottom of the 4th to make it 4-4. And obviously when Hans Kraus gives up that run in the top of the 10th, I'm thinking, man, all of this excitement just at being close, just at being tied. Man, that really sums up being an Angels fan in 2024, and how fitting that we're going to lose 5-4 in the 10th inning and it'll still be a loss. But no, for once we can have nice things. And we have, thanks to Willie Calhoun, a 6-5 victory. We already talked about Calhoun with the 2-run shot in the first and in the 4th. But in case you missed this one, or in case you turned it on late, because I would not blame you if you waited until the 7th inning and saw that it was tied to actually turn the TV on. I don't blame you. The Angels have fallen behind so early in so many games and by such large deficits. I don't blame you for waiting a couple innings to see if this team's actually going to show up. But they showed up today. And we had talked about the Calhoun homer, but I love the way they came back once again. Bottom of the 4th, Mickey Moniak with the leadoff double. Mickey Mouse Moniak is what I used to call him, but he's slowly heating up a little bit more. Here's the key. He's getting favorable matchups, right? He's getting favorable matchups, and he's coming through at times. Today, 2 for 4. Once again, the average is up to 209. You have a couple more 2 for 4s, you're batting 220, and you're just an average Angel hitter. You're not suddenly the bottom of the order, suddenly the scapegoat in every loss. You're hitting 220 something. You're basically just an average Angel hitter in 2024. But enough of the negativity. Bottom of the 4th, leadoff double from Moniak. A ground out from Zach Neto at least gets Mickey Moniak to 3rd. And then another guy who we have rightfully so been so critical of, Joe Adell, comes through. A ground ball, scores Mickey Moniak, makes it 4-3, but there was more. And Anthony Rendon walk, another guy that we have so many reasons to be critical for, and I think I would need him to hit 40 home runs before I would stop being critical of him. He walks, 1st and 2nd now, and that's when Nolan Shanuel comes through as well. Fly ball to right field. Joe Adell scores. Rendon gets to 2nd. They would not end up scoring anymore because that's when the pitcher, Brian Wu, was finally taken out of the game. Taylor Ward ends up striking out, and Willie Calhoun, oh man, he flew out there, but I'm not going to even mention that more than just saying that because, boy, was he great tonight. Looking at the box score, Rendon 1 for 4 with a walk and a run. He did have 1 strikeout. Nolan Shanuel 1 for 2, an RBI, but 2 walks as well. Get that OPS up, baby. Get that that OBP as well, excuse me. Get that on-base percentage up. Love to see that from Shanuel, who is still a guy that I think has a role as being, if not the leadoff, the number 2 hitter like he is right now for a while in this Angel lineup. If you can get it to 250, if that OPS can get in the mid 700s, maybe even creep at 800 by the end of the year, would be a great year, given how poorly he started the year. Taylor Ward, not good at all again. And the second we're hearing all these rumors about where he's getting traded to, Pittsburgh, the Reds, the Braves, we're hearing so many teams. He keeps putting up awful performances. Tonight, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. So he really must like Anaheim because he's really doing his best not to get traded out of Anaheim. Real quick, I want to pull up his game logs just to see how he's been doing in recent games because I'm pretty sure it's not been good. Yeah, no hits in the last 3 games. He hasn't had a multi-hit game in the entire month of July, which is now almost half the month. 0 for 4 tonight, or excuse me. Yes, 0 for 4 tonight. I think this isn't even updated yet. Yeah, it's not updated on MLB.com. He's ended up 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Then he was 0 for 3 yesterday with a pair of strikeouts, 0 for 3 the day before. He had a 1 for 4, a 1 for 4, a 1 for 3, and then an 0 for 4, an 0 for 4, an 0 for 4, a 1 for 5. So Taylor Ward, not great in the month of July so far, just 5 of 40. 5 hits in 40 at-bats with 17 strikeouts. 17 strikeouts. So he has been awful. He's really hurting his trade value right at the time where you need it to be sky high. So that's certainly maybe the only main negative from this game is that him, and let's be honest, Tyler Anderson to some degree, another obvious trade candidate, did not help his trade value tonight. And so that hurts. But once again, I don't want to talk about it too much. I'm supposed to stay laser focused for once and just celebrate a win. So we're going to do that. Brandon Drury was actually pretty good, 2 for 4. He did have 2 strikeouts, but hey, 2 for 4. It's enough to really bring that average up a lot. Logan O'Hoppe, okay, 1 for 4. He was red hot moments ago, a few games ago. He's still doing everything behind the plate. He's still our leader. I'm certainly not going to be mad at a 1 for 4. Zach Neto, 1 for 4 again. Okay, that's kind of what he is. He's a 1 for 4 hitter. He's hitting 251. The OPS is at 731 because occasionally it's a double, it's a triple, it's a home run. Occasionally there's RBIs involved. But he's a 1 for 4 hitter right now, and that's what he did tonight. That's fine. Joe Adell, I think one of the most shocking stats of the night. 2 walks for Joe Adell, just 1 strikeout. That's pretty good. A 2-to-1 walk to strikeout ratio for Joe Adell is a miracle. He also goes 1 for 2 as well. So pretty solid lineup or performance from the lineup. Absolutely. 11 hits. The only guy in the lineup that did not get a hit was Taylor Ward. Remember the last time that everybody got a hit? It was in that 7-0 victory when there was 12 hits and everyone had a hit. Tonight, everyone but Taylor Ward gets a hit. So, of course, the one guy in the lineup, I'd say literally the one guy in the lineup that you really want to see the most from right now, just given that you're trying to trade him, is Taylor Ward. And, of course, he's the only one who doesn't get a hit. But I'm not going to be negative. Once again, a great win, an exciting win. Willie Calhoun, obviously the hero, 4 of the 6 RBIs. But shout out to Joe Adell and Nolan Shanuel for the other 2. Those are two guys that are still certainly Shanuel, but Adell maybe part of the future of this team. Moniak, like I said, came through not once but twice. And if that average for Moniak gets to 220 by the end of the, maybe not the All-Star break, but by the end of August, if he can get in the 230s or 240s and savage this season, that would be great. KCJ24 says, do you think Neto should be higher in the order? Honestly, right now, I'm not really mad at where Neto's at, just because there's a lot of pressure on him to be the everyday shortstop. And I would much rather have a Zach Neto that goes 1 for 4, hitting 7th or 8th in the lineup and is pristine, clean at shortstop in the field. I'd rather have that than a Neto who maybe hits 5th or 6th. Obviously, getting moved up in the lineup doesn't make you suddenly a better hitter. But even if it makes him think about hitting a little bit more, focus on a little bit more, something, I don't know, and do slightly better hitting-wise, I don't think it's worth the sacrifice of maybe him being a little less attentive in the field because there's the pressure of hitting more often in bigger moments. So I'm okay with Neto at 8th. I think it makes sense given the matchup tonight with Wu, a guy who obviously is a righty, and you know how big I am on hit the lefties against the righties. There's not many lefties in this lineup. So I'm fine with having a Moniak above Neto just because I think Moniak is a better. This might be a crazy take given what we've seen, but Moniak still is probably a better matchup, especially right now with how he's hitting against righties than a Zach Neto. I'm that much of a believer in the righty-lefty advantage in most cases. So I see me skipping a little bit. I hope I'm okay. I think I'm okay. So long story short, I'm fine with where Neto's hitting. I like Moniak as a lefty against the righty, even if it's not a great lefty bat in Moniak. The same way, I want really badly, I want Logan O'Hoppe to be our cleanup hitter. But hey, the only exception is if it's a Willie Calhoun who's swinging the bat well from the left side against the righty. That makes sense. The same way, I like seeing Nolan Shanuel obviously in the lineup every night as a lefty. We don't have many. So I think that's what I want to see is Neto where he is. And if it can make him a better fielder by being able to focus on that more and continue, I think Neto really has the potential to be an elite top 3 shortstop in the game. And it'll be because he'll have an A+ glove and maybe a B+ bat. So I'm fine with where he is. Anthony Jimenez says Ward will heat up after the trade deadline. Yeah, he probably will. Hopefully regardless of when he heats up, hopefully it's after he's gone because there's no need to see this guy on this team anymore. Let's be honest. He's here only to hit. He never really hits. This team's not playing for anything. Bye-bye. And Jeff says he's on break. Jeff is the most loyal postcast listener right now. So seeing you on break, being able to actually enjoy the postcast with us, love to see it. Shout out to you as always. And yes, certainly happy that we won. I'm going to take my last break here on the postcast. When I come back, I will finally talk about Tyler Anderson and the bullpen. And then we will go and celebrate they picked the right day to have a game like this on a Friday night where we can now have a great Friday night, a nice Saturday morning, because the Angels actually won a baseball game. We'll be right back after our last break here. Locked On Angels Postcast. Today's show is brought to you by Tax Network USA. Now, I say it so much. Locked On. What are we about? We're about consistency. We're about bringing you a show here on the Postcast, a show after every game. If it's the daily podcast, a show every single day, whether it's the offseason, the playoffs, spring training, the draft, anything. It's year round. But you know what else is year round? Collection season. Just because the season is over, tax season is over, doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for your unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed tax professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. I let them go to bat for me, and I trust them a lot more than I trust Joe Adele, even though he was okay tonight. I'm 22, income coming in more than in recent years. We'll take it. Expenses, though, going out more than in recent years. Paying for rent, paying for driving everywhere. Gas is expensive. Everything's expensive. You don't need me to tell you that. So shout out to Tax Network USA. They handle me well, and they'll handle you. They'll help you as well. So with over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or you finally hit that part of the season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. And be sure to mention the Locked On Angels Postcast at checkout, and you'll receive $250 off their services. And today's show is finally brought to you by Stitch Fix. Now, one more time. You know that instant confidence boost you get from an outfit that makes you look really good? That's what I get with Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist who understands your style, your size, and your budget. That's a key one. Once again, they do all the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. Now, it's the summer, and it's really hot. And so maybe you have a lot of nice clothes for when it's cold. I don't know where you live. I assume you live in California if you're an Angel fan, although I know Jeff lives in Reno. Certainly not cold there either. But maybe you have a nice winter wardrobe, but it's the summer. It's hot. You spice up your summer wardrobe. You want to go out, you want to look nice, walking outside at the beach or at a restaurant or anywhere. And maybe you don't know what the nice style is in 2024 while it's hot. This, fashion trends and all that, it moves so quickly. Maybe you're a busy guy like me and you don't have time to figure it all out. So just use Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you can easily upgrade your wardrobe this year with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. Now, if you want to know how it works, I just give my stylist my style, my size, and my budget preferences. I order boxes when I want. I don't need a new set of outfits every day. I just order them when I want. Maybe I'm going to New York. So honestly, I fumbled the back here. I should have called Stitch Fix before. I like my wardrobe right now, but in other cases, I would have called Stitch Fix right before my trip. I would say I need it. I say what I want, and they send me just 5 just for me pieces plus outfit recommendations. They don't just give you the clothes. They tell you what to wear them, how to wear them. That styling advice is great, and you can keep what works, and you can send back what you don't like. So style that makes you feel as good as you look. Now's the best time to get started at stitchfix.com/MLB and get $100 off. That's $25 off your first 4 fixes for a limited time only. That's stitchfix.com/MLB for $100 off. Stitchfix.com/MLB. You must redeem within 7 days of sign up. Offer does not include kids fixes. There you go. Back here one more time on the Locked On Los Angeles Sports, Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I'm Gavin Carlson. I'm fired up. I'm talking quicker than normal. I'm sweating, not just because it's hot, but because I'm animated. My arms are flying everywhere. I'm fired up because the Angels actually won a baseball game. 6-5 the final, thanks to a 2-run bomb from Willie Calhoun in the bottom of the 10th to walk things off. His second 2-run shot of the game. 4 RBIs for him, 2 home runs for him. Willie Calhoun in the cleanup spot. As the DH, he comes through. Now, one guy who didn't necessarily come through in this one, Tyler Anderson, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 runs all earned, just 4 strikeouts. And once again, the big fly, it helped the Angels tonight, but it hurt the Angels tonight because Tyler Anderson gave up 2. He gave up a 2-run bomb in the top of the first inning. We talked about Griffin Canning struggling in the first, but here it was Tyler Anderson gives up a 2-run bomb to Julio Rodriguez. He didn't really hit it that deep, 378 to right center field. Nice opposite field power from him on a not terrible pitch. It's a high and away fastball on 0-1 after you throw a high and away changeup, but Rodriguez was able to get to it. He hit it really hard, just not that deep. Just like that, it was 2-0, which is why I'm so proud of this team for responding and coming back. Now, that was not the only big fly that he gave up. After a one-out single to J.P. Crawford, he gives up another 2-run bomb, this time to Kyle Rayleigh on a much deeper home run. Same exit velo, but the launch angle or whatever was all there. If you care about it, great. If you don't, that's fine. But Kyle Rayleigh absolutely destroys this one. Switch hitter, hitting from the right-handed spot, of course, against Rodriguez, and he crushed it. 106.5 exit velo, but 423 feet to left center. And it was so deflating because you see the Angels come back, get the score tied at 2 in the bottom of the first, a second inning of nothing, and then in the top of the third, Tyler Anderson gives up another 2-run bomb, and you're thinking, oh man, for once Tyler Anderson got some run support, and he's going to blow it. And he kind of did blow it with the 2-run shot. Luckily, the Angels come back in the bottom of the fourth, like I said, and tie things up. And you're like, okay, good top of the fifth from him, a pretty good top of the sixth, just gives up that one double. And then I think the right time for a change. Right time for a change. Ben Joyce is slowly becoming more of a guy you can trust. And you can have more of a typical 7, 8, 9 bullpen setup of a Ben Joyce, Luis Garcia, and a Carlos Estevez. Now, obviously, this game goes into 10 innings, so it changes things up a little bit. But still, I love what we're starting to build in the bullpen. Ironically, right when we might build it is right when we might break it down. We might be trading Estevez in a couple weeks. I would not be mad at that at all. Ben Joyce, I think, is getting set up to eventually be the closer of this team, maybe even as early as this year. But he comes through and he immediately scares you. He hits Luke Rayleigh. Man, Luke Rayleigh getting hit a lot this series. He immediately hits him on a 3-1 count. He just absolutely hooks a fastball, drills him. But then he gets a pop out. He's able to strike out Josh Rojas, a pinch hitter, and then he's able to get an assist as Luke Rayleigh is caught stealing. Jeff's got to go. His break is over. You will certainly see him tomorrow. Shout out to you. Also, what up, Fud Alex? Good to see you as well. But good job by Ben Joyce. Certainly a good 7th inning. Then, just as planned, Luis Garcia comes in the 8th to do his job, and he gives up 2 hits, but he's able to, escape unscathed, no runs allowed, and then kind of goes to plan. Once again, you bring Carlos Estevez in the 9th. You're thinking, even though it's not a save opportunity, if he can escape this inning with no runs, the Angels will walk it off. That's what he did. A strikeout, a ground out, gives up a single, but then strikes out Rojas to send us to the 9th. Now, the Angels don't do anything thanks to an Anthony Rendon ground out. But the moral of the story is this bullpen setup, even if it's only for a week or so more, it's nice to see you really have a clear setup now of Ben Joyce straight to Luis Garcia, straight to Carlos Estevez in close games. And if Estevez gets traded, maybe you just shift everyone over. Maybe Hunter Strickland's now the 7th inning. The 8th inning is now Ben Joyce. The 9th inning is now Luis Garcia. If Luis Garcia gets traded as well, shift it again. Hunter Strickland pitches in the 8th, Ben Joyce in the 9th. Maybe, who is it in the 7th? I don't even know who would be in that case. Definitely not Rosenberg. Who knows? Maybe Strickland's gone too. They might trade the whole bullpen. But for now, you have a kind of clear structure of the bullpen. A guy who might be a part of the bullpen for the future is Hans Kraus. And ironically, he's the winning pitcher tonight, despite giving up a run. He gets a line out from J.P. Crawford, but then Mitch Garver drills a ground rule double down the left field line. Rojas obviously scores. It's 5-4, but he does a good job. With the extra inning rule, you know that a run it's a flip a coin whether you're going to score that run at second. So if you give up that run at second, but that's all it is, then that's okay. And with the runner back on second, you intentionally walk Kyle Rayleigh, and then back-to-back huge strikeouts of Julio Rodriguez and Ty France. So you limit it to 1 run, and look at what happens when you limit it to 1 run. Walk-off from Willie Calhoun. So, Angels victorious, 6-5 the final. The bullpen, in case you need the stats, I told you about Tyler Anderson, his 6 innings of 6 hit ball, 4 earned runs, those 2 home runs killing him. But look at the rest of the bullpen. Ben Joyce, no hits, no runs, 1 strikeout. Luis Garcia, 2 hits, no runs. Carlos Estevez, 1 hit, no runs, 2 strikeouts. And then Hans Kraus does give up the run. It's not earned on that 1 hit, but then he responds with 2 strikeouts as well. So great performance from the bullpen. Even Hans Kraus deserves his credit. Good for him. He gets the win. He's been great. 0.77 ERA, now 2-0. And who knows, with a lot of the bullpen arms likely getting traded, he's someone that will probably stick around. So nice to know that even if there's a Kenny Rosenberg in the bullpen, at least there's also a guy like Hans Kraus who might be able to contribute. But with all that being said, Angels win. Shout out to all of you in here. Jeff, Fut Alex, Anthony Jimenez, KCJ24, Break Less. I didn't even read your comment. He says that game was great, TBH. Love those kinds of gritty wins. Absolutely. And also Daniel Barry as well. So shout out to everybody in here. Shout out to everybody watching after the fact. Please leave a like. It helps the channel so much. Like I said, helps grow this community even more. Leave a comment as well. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will be back here tomorrow, hopefully after another thrilling game like we got tonight. The Angels win 6-5, bottom of the 10th inning. Willie Calhoun, the hero. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow, hopefully after another win. So long, everybody. Have a great, victorious Friday night.